Hello, welcome back to Beauty Bee and to my first month update for my 5 Tries to Figure It Out project pan. The goal of this project, as you might be able to, figure out from the title, is to use products that maybe didn't work out that well for you the first couple times you used them, and try to see if you can build up a little bit of respect for them over 5 uses. Give them a few good solid tries and just see if you can or really even want to make them work in the future. Overall, I think this project has been a resounding success. I had 5 products in last month, which we'll go through in just a sec. And I actually get to roll out 4 of them because I've reached 5 uses. So let's get into the update portion of this video and look at the one item that I have not gotten to 5 uses on. It is from my Wet n Wild 32 pan palette, and perhaps surprisingly, the one item that I did not get to 35 uses is this gold. Now this is so hard panned feeling. It's so hard to get any color off. I mean, I am scrubbing into that pan. I've only used this twice. Both times I have used it as an eyeshadow. The first time I used it as a base for gold glitter, and for that it worked fine. I mean, it was largely getting covered up. I just needed a little bit of gold color underneath, and really a little bit of gold color is all this has to offer. The second time I used it all over my lid, and then I put some green accents and some shimmery accents. Accent colors were meant to be the focus of the look, so it worked out okay. However, I feel like this color ended up looking just a little bit muddy on my eyes, definitely not my favorite, and there are golds that I like better. In the next month, I want to continue to play around with this. I really want to try using this wet, and I'm also going to try the tape method to see if I can pull off this top layer. I wonder if it's hard pan. I mean, it looks like it is, but also I can't remember getting a good amount of pigment off the first couple times I used it before there would have been any hard pan either. So I'll continue to test this out, and I have 3 more uses to go on this before I roll it out, hopefully in next month's update. Now let's talk about the things that I did get to 5 uses. The first of which is this NYX shimmery blue shade. Let me give you some swatches. Here is the swatch of that. It's not my favorite color, hence why it's in this project, but I was able to use it in quite a few different ways that I really enjoyed. 3 different times I wore this on the outer corner with a bright blue eyeshadow all over the lid. It's actually this bright blue eyeshadow. This is a much prettier shade from that Wet n Wild 32 pan palette. Probably my favorite look that I did with this was putting it all over the lid and then topping it all off with a mint glitter. It really transformed the glitter from a really light, airy, sort of springtime look into something with a little bit more depth and a little bit more interest, and I really liked the effect. I will see if I have a picture. I'm not positive I took a photograph though. And then actually just a couple days ago, I used it as liner, and I was really pleased with the look. It was an overall pretty neutral eye, and then I just added this blue winged liner. It was a little bit on the smudgy side, definitely not as crisp as you would get with, say, a liquid liner or a gel liner. But overall, I really liked the effect. I thought it was dark enough to anchor the look, but light enough that you could still make out the blue, and that it did actually bring something a little bit more interesting than black or brown could have to that eye look. Let's just get through the eyeshadow and then we'll move to the one thing that wasn't eyeshadow. Next up, we have this Wet n Wild shade. This is a matte orange, and the texture on this is actually quite nice. Let me give you a swatch. Now, I use this in 3 different ways. The first and probably most obvious was just as a crease shade. I thought it was okay for that. I mean, it's pretty standard. It does pull a little bit more brown than I thought it was going to, but overall, okay. So I wore it that way 3 times, including in the Get Ready With Me I did using these products maybe last week or 2 weeks ago. Probably my favorite look that I did using this shade was with it all over the lid, and then I used some other oranges and yellows with more of a shimmery or metallic finish to add some accents in the crease transition area as well as in the inner corner. I thought that was really pretty. I liked that it kind of switched up where I usually tend to put mattes versus shimmers, and overall the effect was pretty and interesting. But I think that in the future I will be more likely to sort of recreate the shape of the look, sort of do a paint by numbers, but insert some different colors. Maybe do the same thing with a blue and some green, or maybe purple and pink. I don't see myself going back to orange for that super often. And then finally, the worst way that I used this was as blush. And I don't have any pictures for this because I put it on and immediately regretted all of my life choices and went to the bathroom and scrubbed it off. It's all good. I just know that I won't be trying that again, and we've learned something and can move on. For the last eyeshadow, we have this Profusion Glam palette and this shade Topaz, which is a shimmery orange. There was a lot of orange this month, and there will be less next month because I can't do it again. I need a little bit less of this. Okay, here is what that looks like, and I used this 5 times. I actually tried this one as blush as well. Not really a straight blush. I mixed it in with a matte pink blush. I just dipped my brush in a little bit, buffed it out on the cheeks, and there was a nice effect, I think. It added a little bit of peachiness to that blush, a little bit of glow. Overall, I think it was pretty. However, I noticed that there was just a hair more glitter in the shade than I really wanted on my cheeks. So while I could see myself doing that again with a similar shade, I don't know that I would use exactly this color again. Interestingly enough, I use this as eyeshadow, but I used it in 4 different ways. I really enjoyed using it as an inner corner highlight. I thought that was really nice. I did that with the look I was talking about with Fogar, where I put the matte orange all over the lid, and then I put the shade Topaz right in the inner corner. I thought that turned out really nice. I used it all over the lid, and I again paired it with Fogar, putting that in the crease. I thought that was okay. It wasn't my favorite look. It wasn't the worst. I did use it as liner one time, which I thought was a nice look. When I say liner, I mean lower lash liner. I thought it looked nice. I did need to then add something a little bit darker to the waterline. I felt like the contrast wasn't quite there, but after I did that, I do think it looked pretty nice, and I can definitely see myself using it as liner and an inner corner shade going forward. Another use that I think I'll be repeating in the future is to blend out the edges using it as a transition shade. I actually have discovered that I really like using light shimmery colors to blend out the edges. I mean, not white, but think oranges or yellows. I think it gives a really interesting effect because it's not where you usually see shimmer, but it is still subtle and not too in your face. I think it's a really fun way to add a little bit of extra color to an eye look, and I definitely see myself doing that with this Topaz shade as well as quite a few other shades again and again. And now that we have worked through the eyeshadow, we can talk about the one non-eyeshadow product that was in this month. And for that, we have this bronze highlight from my Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting palettes. Do I have a clean finger? Yes. I mean, clearly that is not going to be a standard highlight on me. There is a swatch of that. It does pull a little bit orange, which was a recurring theme and not happening next month. And I will admit, when I rolled this in, my thought was, okay, I'll use it 5 times and then I can get rid of it because there's no way I can make this work for me. However, I found myself actually kind of enjoying this. I found myself using it as eyeshadow, which was fine. It's an okay performing eyeshadow. I don't have a shade that is particularly close to it. That might be just me. I mean, that is probably not a hard color for most people to dupe out, but I don't have anything super close. I used it as a lid shade, and then I used it as a transition in the same way that I did that topaz shimmery orange. But the way that I found myself really enjoying this product was mixing it in with a bronzer. Specifically, I've been using this Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I would just swirl my brush into the Physicians Formula bronzer, get a tiny little tap of this highlighter, and I would use it, you know, on my forehead, on my neck, anywhere else I might usually put bronzer, and I thought it was a pretty effective. Did add a little bit of shine. There isn't any sparkle to this product, which I think was very helpful. It's quite smooth and just glowy. And when it gets a little bit warmer, I'm thinking this summer, I think that this will be a really fun product to pull out a little bit more often. Okay, so the 4 products that were in this month, I'm not going to be getting rid of any. I can't say that any of them have become new favorites. However, I have definitely found ways that I enjoy all 4 of them. And I hope, you know, fingers crossed, that I will get at least a little bit of use out of them going forward and not just have them languishing in a drawer. So now for the fun part where we roll in some new things. The first item is a bronzer. It's from that same Physicians Formula palette, and it is this darker shade. I think I described this as being a little too orange for me, but I don't think that's really the case the more I look at it. Here's a swatch of it. It almost looks a little bit more yellow to me than orange, though, I mean, definitely super warm, definitely more orange than red, but yeah, I just assumed that I couldn't make this work. I think I'm going to give it a few tries. If nothing else, I'll use it as a crease shade and it'll be fine. Let's go to the other non-eyeshadow. I actually really like this product, and I know that I do, but I made the mistake the last few months of just buying so many face products that this kind of got left by the wayside, and I honestly don't know off the top of my head why I would choose this over any of my other blushes. Not in a bad way, it's not a bad product. There it is right here. But I just have so much blush now that I feel like I'm never reaching for this, and I want to make sure that I'm using it, make sure that I understand how it fits into my routine. And though it's not really a 5 tries to figure it out, I mean, I know that I like this, I want to make sure that I'm actually using it. I'm actually going to be going into that same Rosé in the Air palette from Wet n Wild this month. Last month I had Fogar, and now we're moving down to this red shade. And really, I think I might have used this even less than the orange, which is surprising to me. But it is a sort of burgundy brown. It's matte. The formula seems okay. Seems pretty comparable to Fogar, at least by touch. I don't know why I haven't used this, but we're going to try to change that. And now one more shade. I think it's going to be this peach. I was originally intending to roll in this sort of orangey brown, but then I realized that is almost the same color as the bronzer, so I don't want to be dealing with two identical shades at the same time. So let's swatch out that peach shade. Now, I am very comfortable with peaches, but this is just a little bit more orange than peach on me. And I also am just a little bit confused by the shimmer that it has. It has a pinky, almost violet glitter in it. And I don't know if you can see it. I actually don't even know if this really translates on the eyes. I've used every shade in this palette. I know I have, but for the life of me, I cannot remember if you can see the glitter in this. But we're going to be finding that out very soon. So, all right, I think that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed. I think that this project is not the most extra fun for me, but I do think it is valuable. Do you see the distinction there? I mean, no, if I was just playing around with whatever makeup I wanted, I probably wouldn't reach for these regularly, but I do think that I'm learning something about myself, about my makeup habits and preferences, and even about the various items that I've pulled in as I'm doing this project, and I want to continue doing it in the future. So I've got my work cut out for me for the next month. It looks like it'll be very warm again this month. Maybe in April's update we can try to add in some cooler things. And I think that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching again. I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed, and I really hope I'll see you next time. Bye!